taking a look here. We're going to turn the camera in just to get some reaction. We do have a couple of words being said back and forth, but it's peaceful for the most part. We'll just listen in. I will say that a few words going back and forth, and the only cuss words are coming from the protesters. So everyone is going about their way, which is good. All right. So again, just a handful. You see two right there. I wish we could show you more of the crowd, but they're back the other way. When we head that way, the internet kind of dies down on us. So we have to stay put right here. But there is a large crowd of people to my left, which would be your right, directly in front of one of the main entrances to the jail. It looks like we're getting some words back and forth now. So I think people are just hot. They've been out here all day. We've been in over 100-degree heat, standing out here sweaty and hoping to see a motorcade, but I don't believe that the president came in this way. We did not see him, so he must have gone in through the other entrance. But people here have been out here again, waiting and hoping to see the motorcade so they can support the president. But a little tension over there right now, but not too bad. So yeah, so we're gonna see if we can move this way. We're gonna walk and see. Yes. So we're gonna try to get a better view, and just bear with us as we move. You're coming with us. And you can see more of the crowd here. They have barricades up so we can't get in the street. You can see the people lined up, Trump flags, the Fulton County Jail entrance, of course, the sheriff's office here, lined up for blocks. When I was coming in, at least 10 blocks down, every corner, there were multiple law enforcement officers. And it made me question immediately, how much money is being spent for today? Taxpayer dollars being spent on President Trump turning himself in. And if this does go to trial, which we shall see, how much money will Atlanta and Fulton County have to shell out for this to take place? So that's what I asked myself earlier, and I will try to get those answers for you because I'm curious myself to see how much money was spent just on security alone today. Again, helicopters are circling over, law enforcement officers in the air and on the ground here outside the Fulton County Jail. President Donald Trump has turned himself in. He is being processed at this time, his fourth indictment since March. It was first the case in New York dealing with Stanton, and then Fox's hoax, Mar-a-Lago, and then D.C., which was dealing with January 6th in the 2020 election. And yet here we are again. We're going to have to move. Here we are again in Georgia dealing with the 2020 case. If you're struggling with economy right now, we encourage you to check out Birch Gold, the Birch Gold Group. You can text the letters RSBN to 9898. Central banks and countries like China and Australia begin the Federal Reserve has been contemplating the same for the U.S. Now, with a digital currency, the government could track every single purchase you make. How scary does that sound? It could even prohibit you from purchasing certain products, or even easily freeze or seize part of your money or all your money. These are just some of the reasons concerned Americans reach out to the Birch Gold Group. They want to have a physical asset that's independent from the U.S. dollar, gold, held, tax sheltered, and a retirement account. So learn if gold is right for you too. Again, text RSBN to 989898. They'll send you a free information kit on gold. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Thousands of happy customers. We hear about it all the time. Countless 5-star reviews. Birch Gold has been a big helping hand with our listeners from the very beginning. So text RFBN to 989898. Claim your free information kit on gold, because if a central bank digital currency becomes a reality, it'll be nice to have some gold to depend on. Birch Gold Group. So again, you're just looking at live pictures from outside jail as we wait for President Trump to be processed. 19 co-defendants named in this case, including former New York City Mayor Giuliani from yesterday. Rudy Giuliani addressed, not only is it unjust for a former president to be indicted for what he's accused of, he's been accused. And so Rudy Giuliani went on to say that everyday Americans are also noted in this indictment. So if you haven't heard sound where he believes we stand as Americans, he says President Trump was right. No American is safe way of justice in America. Again, President Trump Idell at this time being processed. He'll be fingerprinted, and we'll have a mugshot for you as soon as that is released here on Right Side Broadcast Network. So we are just waiting to hear word. We also have Brian Glenn, who's with the Trump. And we are standing by right now.
All right, taking a live look from the motorcade as we are leaving the Fulton County Jail. The processing took about 15, 17 minutes. And you're taking a look at some of the crowd, and we're going to pass Chip area is make a left-hand turn up here. You saw it when we came in. Literally, I would say hundreds of people in this tiny media area, all carrying President Trump now leaving the jail. I've got to say, it was surreal pulling into the jail. Now, we've obviously done courthouses in the past, but this time was a little different. This going into a facility that is surrounded with barbed wire, heavy security, obviously very much feels like a jail. Did have a different impression of me, I got to say, a little different than the previous indictments and activities that we've been with the president at these former houses. A little different feel here. Also, the vibe is a little different overall. I feel like we saw a handful of supporters on the side of the road. Really only saw two different areas of supporters on the side of the road. Mostly a lot of media, obviously, and a lot of people that just simply have come out of the house, just said, hey, this motorcade is quite large, and it's really gotten the attention of people that live and work in this area. So they've come out of their homes, their businesses, to take a look at what's going down. This is a historic day, and I'm sure the local authorities here have done a fantastic job of blocking off all of these streets in advance, so there is no cross traffic on this way, and you've got a great look. And I've got to say, you got to bear with us, because this motorcade, we are traveling obviously through these city streets, and with the bumps and the turns and the brakes and the acceleration, periodically, accelerating quickly. That's going to shake the camera a little bit, so bear with us on that. But I know Vanessa went over some of the charges, and I'll put them up on social media. I know Grace, our social media and editor-in-chief, will push that out here shortly. But just a different scene of this motorcade, guys. I know, Vanessa, you've done a fantastic job being live outside the jail since our broadcast. Now we are headed back towards the airport. And at that point, I've been told that we could have a few minutes, perhaps the president sharing his thoughts on what just happened, and hopefully we can get some sound from him as he walked off Trump Force One. Obviously, gave a thumbs up halfway down the stairs, said thank you for coming. Felt like he was obviously appreciates the fact that right side, we're here covering him and supporting him what he's going through, but then the media as well. And I think that you're starting to see people understand that even the independents and some moderate Democrats see how the justice system has been weaponized against President Trump, and that the scales of justice have been tipped, despite all of the evidence we've seen on the Biden and Hunter Biden, Ukraine, and Burisma, and all of the dealings with foreign governments and some of the money laundering, that the actual crimes that have been taking place under the Biden regime. And I think the people are starting to see that. Even Democrats are starting to see that the weaponization of that exists. So fair times we have right now, and you are here as a president for the fourth time has been indicted, and now he's rather processed. We'll keep you updated on any kind of further court proceedings that will follow this. I would imagine we typically, you might see 7 to 10 business days that the president would be required to come back into court. We'll see exactly what that looks like. Right now, I've got no indication of that date, but obviously we will keep you updated on that. If you just now join us, we are live here in the motorcade headed back to the airport for President Trump to get back on Trump Force One. You're looking at probably maybe 15 to 20 vehicles coming in this motorcade in front of us. You're a shot at that. We're in the press vehicle here. I've got members of the press sitting in the van with me, and then obviously they are covering this as it develops as well. So what you see is what we see, and this is how it feels to experience yet another indictment and another opportunity to travel along with the president in this very interesting year it has been so far for him. Now, I have a suspicion that this will not be the last time we see President Trump, making an appearance into a court or jail, as this has been the plan. I mean, it seems like the legal system has been an arm of the Democratic Party as far as trying to get the vote away from President Trump. And if the primary was held tomorrow, he is a presumptive nominee for the Republican Party. There's absolutely no doubt. I'm going to toss it back to Vanessa, and we'll continue our live coverage here in the motorcade.
Hi, everyone. We're actually on the other side of the Fulton County Jail. Vanessa Broussard coming to you from where a lot of Trump supporters are gathering. They've been here all day hoping to get a glimpse of President Trump in his motorcade. I believe they went on the other side where Brian Glenn is. I want to introduce you to some of my new friends, our RSBA viewers. So good to see me. Tell me your name and where you're from.
I'm Allison Harrelson. I'm from Covington, Georgia.
I'm Michelle Donaldson from Covington, Georgia.
Lee Donaldson from Covington, Georgia.
Good to see you. Some Georgia folks here. So how does it feel knowing that this is taking place in your state?
It makes me very sad to know that this can happen to a former president. And I call it a witch hunt, too.
And so I know why you're here today to support the president, but what is the feeling like for you? It's a historic day.
It is, but it's a sad day. That's all I can say. It's a sad day, and that's how I feel.
And how do you feel about, President Trump? You're obviously a huge fan of the president, and to see that he's going through again and again yet another indictment.
I'm just glad he has thick skin, because I don't, and he has to have thick skin to go through what he's gone through.
Did you watch the debates last night?
I did not.
No. Did you watch the interview with Tucker?
Yes.
Okay, you're one of about two. Last I checked, not even 24 hours of it being posted, over 230 million people watched it. So tell me some of your takeaways from that interview.
Michelle?
Well, he was answering the questions really tough, but he wasn't giving every everybody the answer. And that's what I like. You know, I have to try to figure. He won the poll, and he wasn't even at the campaign the debate last night. Yeah. So, but he's for our country, and that's what. And when Tucker asked him, you know, they out to kill you, and I was like, oh my, it's a tough question to even answer. So.
Absolutely. And so I've thought about that before too. I think a lot of Americans have, you know, what's next for the president? They're trying to bring him down any way they can. And when Tucker asked him that, he just said they're savage. They're evil people. Do you agree with that?
Well, you know, our country was founded by God. And I think we have come so far away from him. And I know it saddens him. So, and Trump wants to bring him back into our country, and our children and our grandchildren, really our grandchildren now, because our children are grown, but our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren need a foundation. We did grow up in the 80s.
Absolutely. The America that we all know and love. So out here today, you'd see a lot of Trump supporters. There are a few people out here protesting Trump. What has been the mood like for you in your eyes?
You know, everybody has free speech. So, you know, that's the country we live in. And so the best thing for us to do is all get along.
And that's what's most important. And I'm glad you said that, because we do have some people behind you who may disagree with your views, but everybody's peaceful and getting along. At the end of the day, we're all American.
That's right. You're right about that. So, and we, you know, the thing is, I tell someone that our homeless people and our veterans were already having a hard time.
And these they call them tents. These are homeless are taking shelter because they have nowhere to go. They don't have any jobs. They don't have food. They don't have water. The country and these cities, and it's really sad to see. Businesses are locking up. Small businesses are shutting down. What do you have to say about that?
We're in a little town. We aren't, but that's a good thing. But you know, my sister and her husband, they come to Atlanta and they go to Athens and they give homeless bags out to the homeless and to the tent cities. And that's what we all gather, and we gather supplies, and we do that.
We appreciate you for doing that. And we appreciate you being out here too, and continue fighting the good fight and supporting President Trump. I want to talk real quick. You were sitting there mouthing while I was talking, telling people at home that I was lying. What was I lying about?
Well, you were talking about big cities and crime in big cities. I just want to make sure that you're aware that crime occurs everywhere. It
does, and small cities as well,
and in the rural country. So it would have been nice if you said crime across America in the rural and us.
I was talking about tent cities, where we see those in California, all over California, which is a Democrat state. You see it in New York. You probably see it here in Atlanta. Do you not?
We also see tent cities, rural countries of Georgia
and
Megan. Did you want to say about that? We see
do.
tent cities in Oklahoma.
And we also have high crime here in Atlanta. Do you think that some of these murderers that should be locked up as well as President Trump, or you think that President Trump should just be locked up and not the murderers? How do you feel about that?
I feel like everyone who's committed a crime should be locked up, including those people who committed the crime on January 6th, if you'll allow me to continue to speak.
Yes, and I'm letting you speak. And so whenever those murders are solved and these people are brought to jail and the law enforcement does their jobs, are you going to be sitting out here with a sign like you are with President Trump that Atlanta equals justice?
Yeah, Atlanta does equal justice. And the reason for that is because Atlanta is one of the very, excuse me, few cities that have really the ground hold up the president accountable, and that's why he and
hey, he won't be here. So let's go around over here, and that's just one of a couple of protesters who are out here. And so we see people are gathering over here, more protesters. So as the night wears on, they're getting louder, they're getting rowdier, they're yelling. You know, and I'll go back to that interview I just had. He's absolutely right. Crime does happen in every city, no matter if you live in a small rural town or a large city in America. Crime is everywhere. But when you're seeing these high crime rates in Atlanta, in cities in California, and you see homeless populations, and you see small businesses shutting down. You see big box stores shutting down because these criminals are going in and just stealing from them, droves of them, breaking the glass. These businesses are boarding up. Now, you don't really see that in small towns. You see that in the big cities. And then we go back to the song that's out number one right now. Try that in a small town, because the fact of the matter is you don't get what you get in these Democrat-run cities. So again, we're showing you what we're seeing here. It's been very peaceful, but they're getting a little rowdy right now. It's hot out here. Tensions are high. We're going to walk over there just a little bit. We're still going to stay quite away. We don't want to get into the middle of it, but we're going to give you just an idea. Again, I love showing you what we're seeing when we're on the ground. So what I'm seeing is someone trying to do an interview with the media and a protester yelling in his face and throwing his arms in the air. But again, if you're just now joining us, this is just a small group, handful of people, 10 people maybe, but for the most part, I would say 95% of the people here are pro-Trump. This is just a small group of protesters who are trying to their voices be heard and somehow get online and on the media. Now, when I come out to these events and there's protests, I not to talk to them because it's just and I try to avoid those arguments. The only reason I asked the guy a while ago for an interview is because I could clearly see him mouthing that I was lying. I am here to give you the truth. I am here to give you the facts. And I do not appreciate someone behind me in an interview telling my viewers that I'm lying. So that's the only reason I interviewed him. I cut it short because I really don't like tensions. I'm not that person. I like everybody to get along. So while we did have some agreement, I don't like the friction. So wrap that one up quick. So we're going to stay here and let those people continue to dance around with their signs and get a little rowdy. This is what's going on here in Atlanta outside the Fulton County Jail as President Trump is being processed right now, turning himself in. He will be fingerprinted. He will have a mugshot that will be released to us. And once we get that, we will provide that for you. He will then post bail, $200,000 cash bond. As we wait for more information from what's going on inside the jail, we want to remind you about the Wellness Company. Dr. Peter McCullough and his doctors on President Trump's advisory committee in 2020, they were censored for recommending ivermectin and other medicines. They're still saving lives every day. These doctors have come together to bring you the Wellness Company.
Okay. I will.
So make sure you go to makecaregreatagain.com, makecaregreatagain.com. Get yourself the Wellness Company's Spike Support Formula to feel your best. Stay that way. Type in RSBN to save 15% on your order. Again, that's makecaregreatagain.com. We're just hearing that President Trump has left and is on his way back to the airport. Yes. President Trump has left the jail and is on his way back to the airport. We're getting word from that right now. Signal is bad here outside of the jail because there are so many people and so many media outlets. We're all using the same system. And so bear with us as we get this information in. But we are hearing, yes, right now that President Trump is at the airport. So he is finished here at the jail. He has been processed. He has posted bail. And he will be jumping back onto Trump Force One. Our Brian Glenn is there with him, and we'll go to Brian as soon as President Trump is released. So stick around for that here on Right Side Broadcast Network. We want to thank all of our viewers too for sticking with us today and always. It's going to be a long ride, I'm afraid, my friends, and we're here with you as we head into 2024, and we hope that you'll be here with us as well. We're going to head over to Brian now.
Awaiting President Trump, who is just pulled up in front of Trump Force One. Looks like he's going to take a few minutes to talk to the media here and perhaps share his thoughts on what just took place about 30 minutes ago at the Fulton County Jail. Obviously,
Let me know when you're settled.
we're just going to stay on a standby mode. You are watching us live on the ground as it happens here at the Atlanta airport, awaiting President Trump to get out of the motorcade and take a few questions with the press. I'm going to move over here. All right, we're just getting positioned so that we perhaps can take a few questions from the president. Like we said, unprecedented today. Fourth time we've been with the president on these indictments. And I said this earlier, this one felt a little different, being that it was at a jail. Courthouse has been had a different feel to it. This has a very real feel when you're pulling into the jail. You've got the barbed wire, you've got the police. It obviously feels like some type of incarceration facility. It just felt a little different today than it has in the past. And I want to get his thoughts when he comes out exactly what it was like. And he wasn't in long. I mean, he was about 17 to 20 minutes inside being processed. He had a scheduled departure out of here in about 25 minutes or so. So they're probably a little bit ahead of schedule. All right, we're about to exit the vehicle. Let's let this play out. We are live here at the Atlanta airport with President Trump on this very historic day.
Thank you very much for being here. I really believe this is a very sad day for America. This should never happen. If you challenge an election, you should be able to challenge an election. Because the election was a rigged election, a stolen election. And I should have every right to do that. As you know, you have many people that you've been watching over the years do the same thing, whether it's Hillary Clinton or Stacey Abrams or many others. When you have that great freedom to challenge, you have to be able to, otherwise you're going to have very dishonest elections. What has taken place here is a travesty of justice. We did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. And everybody knows that. I've never had such support. And that goes with the other ones too. What they're doing is election interference. They're trying to interfere with an election. There's never been anything like it in our country before. This is their way of campaigning. This is one instance, but you have three other instances. It's election interference. So I want to thank you for being here. We did nothing wrong at all, and we have every right, every single right, to challenge an election that we think is dishonest, that we think is very dishonest. So thank you all very much, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you.
Mr. President, would you pardon yourself?
Mr. President, Mr. President, how is this different from the previous investigations, sir?
Speaking out against the rigged election, the fact that he's had an opinion on the election, that opinion, that freedom of speech, that freedom of expression, it basically let people know how he feels about the outcome of the election and the integrity of it, or the lack of integrity of it. And that's his duty to do that. As we see him walk back on Trump Force One, waving to the media, and he is back off to Bedminster. We've been instructed to go back to the vans. We'll walk alongside over here. We'll get back in the vans. I don't know from this point on how much more coverage we're going to be able to have here on this airstrip. We'll obviously go back to a landing area. We'll watch the plane taxi and go. Like I said, one of the questions that someone asked was, how did this one feel from the previous ones? And that was a little different. I was hoping the president might answer that question because I do feel like this one was different. Obviously, Boris Epshteyn, one of his attorneys, Jason Miller, making his way back on the plane. Obviously, a lot of security detail staffers with the president as well, traveling down here to Atlanta. All right, we're going to hold it here. We'll send it back to Vanessa if we can, and we'll let Vanessa wrap it up from the ground there in front of the Fulton County Courthouse. Nope, we're going to hold here. Hold here. All right. Okay. We're going to get back in the vans. So just let you know, we can't have any audio in the van.